Imagine plunging into the silent void of the deep ocean, where light fades to an inky blackness thousands of meters below the waves. The seafloor stretches out like a vast, desolate plain of mud and sand, seemingly lifeless and unchanging. But what if this barren expanse hides a secret world of tireless architects, creatures that sculpt and reshape the very ground beneath the sea? These unseen builders work in darkness, turning loose sediment into intricate megastructures that span kilometers. Who are they, and how do they engineer environments hostile to most life? Their handiwork pulses with a subtle life force, challenging our view of the ocean floor as mere dead dirt. As we descend further, a faint whisper of movement stirs the gloom, hinting at the empire lurking just below the surface. Could this muddy desert be alive, breathing through invisible tunnels? Meet the burrowers, the foundational engineers of this hidden realm, starting with sea cucumbers that glide like ghostly vacuum cleaners across the sediment. These soft-bodied holothurians vacuum up nutrient-rich particles, their tube feet probing the muck for organic treasures fallen from above. In the process, they rework vast areas, mixing layers of mud and oxygenating the depths where suffocation reigns. Amphipods and tiny shrimp join the frenzy, excavating twisting burrows that crisscross the seafloor like roots of an unseen tree. Each creature acts alone, yet together they form a colossal network, stabilizing the ground against collapsing under its own weight. Have you ever wondered what keeps this unstable soup from swallowing itself whole? Their relentless digging creates stable platforms, invisible cities teeming with life in the abyss. A mild chill creeps in as we realize these tunnels might shift unpredictably, trapping the unwary explorer. Deeper into the sediment, worms emerge as master excavators, their sinuous bodies carving labyrinthine passages that defy the crushing pressure. These polychaetes thrust through the mud, lining tunnels with mucus to prevent collapse, forming durable spines in the softness. Eels slither through these highways, preying on smaller dwellers and further churning the mix. The combined effort bioturbates the floor, cycling nutrients and preventing stagnation in waters starved of oxygen. Picture thousands of these blind workers toiling ceaselessly, their traces preserved in sediment cores like ancient blueprints. What drives them in eternal night, without sight or sound? Their burrows ventilate the depths, fostering microbial gardens that sustain the entire ecosystem. Yet, in their quiet industry, a horror lurks. Walls that could seal shut, entombing life in suffocating embrace. From these subterranean realms, patterns rise to the surface, mounds and spirals etched by the burrower's patient labor. Sea pigs, those pink-hued cousins of cucumbers, trundle along, their modified feet scooping sediment into neat heaps that the plain like alien runes. These structures trap food and shelter smaller kin, turning chaos into ordered habitats. Sponges and anemones anchor atop them, their roots delving into the reworked mud for stability. Over centuries, these megaforms grow, reshaping topography on scales rivaling human cities. Does this coordinated chaos suggest a hive mind, or mere survival instinct amplified? Scientists marvel at X-ray scans revealing layered histories of construction and collapse. The mystery deepens. What unseen forces guide their designs? Now consider the scale. For in trenches like Japan's abyss at 7.5 kilometers, these builders persist against impossible odds. Gravity flows dump fresh sediment, and colonizers swarm instantly, holothurians leading the charge into oxygen-rich spoils. As decay sets in, tougher invertebrates thrive on microbial blooms, binding mud into resilient mats. Bacterial allies fuse particles into rubbery sheets, blurring lines between life and stone. These abyssal architects erect biodomes and ridges, monuments enduring millennia. How do they sense fresh deposits in pitch blackness? Their work echoes through geological time, fossilized burrows whispering of ancient kin. A subtle dread arises. Our seafloor bedrock once writhed with similar fervor. Transitioning upward, we glimpse how burrowers enable grander builds, their oxygenated zones inviting coral engineers to weave skeletal cities. Yet here in Act 1, the focus remains on these humble sediment shapers, whose empire underpins all ocean life. Without their toil, reefs would crumble, vents clog, and plains liquefy into quagmires. Their megastructures stabilize against currents and quakes, a living foundation for the deep. Imagine diving among them, feeling the faint vibrations of endless excavation. What if one wrong step breached a tunnel wall, unleashing a mudslide from below? This silent construction crew holds the abyss together, yet their world feels perilously alive. As we peer closer, the seafloor stirs, ready to reveal its next layer of secrets. The burrower's legacy extends beyond sight, with traces in every core sample pulled from the hadal depths. Pink sea pigs and transparent cucumbers dominate, their slow marches redistributing particles across square kilometers. Long-armed shrimp fiercely guard sediment mounds, defending hordes against rivals in territorial wars. These behaviors sculpt micro-landscapes into macro-wonders, baffling explorers with their precision. Could evolution have tuned them for planetary engineering? Their networks promote biodiversity, turning sterile flats into thriving hubs. Horror tinges the awe, vast, shifting plains where no surface dweller could survive. The ocean floor awakens not with roars, but with the patient grind of countless jaws. In this foundation of the living seafloor, we've uncovered the first architects, but greater mysteries await above and below. Their work sets the stage for coral spires and vent citadels, a narrative etched in mud. Stay with us as we ascend from these pulsing tunnels to the surface engineers. What colossal forms do they raise upon this base? The deep holds more, whispering promises of wonder laced with unease. These builders never rest, their megastructures a testament to life's indomitable will. Feel the pull of the unknown, drawing us deeper into the engineered abyss. The seafloor builds on, eternally reshaping our world from the shadows. In the quiet mystery of the ocean's depths, coral reefs stand as monumental testaments to the power of life to sculpt and innovate. At first glance, a reef might seem like a simple stone outcrop or a vibrant tangle of colors. But beneath this apparent beauty lies a sprawling, intricate construction site built by millions of tiny, tireless organisms working in concert. These coral colonies are the engineers of the living seafloor, creating vast, three-dimensional cities from microscopic larvae that settle and multiply on hard surfaces. They grow slowly, mere centimeters each year, yet, over thousands of years, their skeletal frameworks reach heights rivaling that of human skyscrapers. How do such fragile creatures form these colossal, enduring structures where crushing pressure and darkness reign? The process begins with a single larva, an almost invisible builder that clings to a rock, the first brick in a monumental architectural feat. The growth of these reefs is not random but a carefully orchestrated dance powered by biology and chemistry, where corals secrete calcium carbonate to form hard exoskeletons. These mineral skeletons fuse together, layer upon layer, creating a solid framework that resists the destructive forces of waves, earthquakes, and storms. Yet the secret to their success lies not just in their skeletons but in the symbiotic relationships they foster. Tiny algae living within coral tissues harness the power of sunlight through photosynthesis, feeding the coral and accelerating growth. This mutualism illuminates the reef with life, but in the deeper and darker ocean, corals adapt differently. They rely on plankton and nutrient-rich currents to thrive where light can never reach. Do these adaptations hint at secret alliances yet undiscovered, or even biological mechanisms we've barely begun to understand? Far below, where sunlight is but a memory, deep-sea corals build their own eerie, alien cities. Without the aid of sunlight-dependent algae, they rely entirely on capturing tiny drifting organisms to fuel their growth. These slow-growing corals form strange, branching structures that resemble underwater forests, their fragile frameworks sheltering an array of creatures. Strange tube worms, crabs, and fishes make homes among the coral branches, forming ecosystems as diverse as tropical reefs but swathed in perpetual darkness. The process is slow, measured in millimeters per year, yet the stakes are immense, as these cold-water reefs provide rare oases in the barren deep. How do these ghostly cities survive, persist, and sometimes thrive in such a hostile environment? Their silent existence invites a creeping feeling that beneath the sea, ancient worlds still pulse with quiet, unearthly life. Reef building is a constant battle against time and nature. Coral colonies face threats from predatory fish, storms, disease, and even other corals competing for space. Each new coral polyp settles on the ruins of its ancestors, building upward and outward in a chaotic architecture of triumph and decay. The reef is a palimpsest recording millions of years of survival, growing, crumbling, and rebuilding. As colonies mature, they develop elaborate shapes and niches, sculpting their surroundings to optimize water flow and nutrient delivery. This is construction on a geological timescale, yet the elegance is not lost on the observer. Yet one cannot help but wonder, what unseen predators or cataclysms have these coral citadels survived, and what horrors might still lurk beyond the delicate branches? Humans have long recognized the value of coral reefs, yet their fragility fascinates and terrifies alike. Efforts to restore damaged reefs reflect a deep yearning to understand and replicate nature's algorithm for building life's fortresses. Artificial reefs, made from concrete blocks or sunken ships, mimic the rough textures that coral larvae seek for attachment. Some innovative projects use electrified structures to accelerate mineral accretion, encouraging faster coral growth in areas devastated by bleaching or pollution. But despite these advances, artificial reefs remain pale imitations of the complex, self-sustaining ecosystems created by coral architects over eons. This raises questions about the limits of human intervention. Can we truly replicate the harmony and age-old wisdom embedded in living reefs? Or do we risk unleashing fragile, unnatural formations doomed to crumble under the sea's relentless forces? The architecture of reefs themselves suggests a dark poetry, a layering of life and death endlessly intertwined. Coral skeletons, once home to vibrant colonies, become foundation stones for new growth when the old dies, a process that can last millions of years. Layers of ancient reefs form limestone cliffs and islands, the very bedrock of many coastal landscapes. This slow metamorphosis reminds us that stone is life frozen in time, a testament to the endless cycle of building and eroding. Consider the eerie thought. Beneath your feet on a tropical beach lies a graveyard of countless generations of coral builders, fossils telling tales of vanished worlds. Such permanence combined with fragility creates an uneasy tension, as if the very earth remembers the silent labor of millions of unseen architects. On rare deep ocean expeditions, researchers have discovered coral structures with bizarre, otherworldly shapes and glowing hues, challenging our conceptions of marine construction. Some species secrete unusual minerals or form tubular skeletons that twist and turn like alien sculptures. Deep-sea corals can survive in toxic or sulfur-rich environments, their skeletons etched by chemical reactions unknown on land. These bioconstructions blur the line between biological organism and geological formation, hinting at a slow evolution of forms that might bewilder even the most imaginative mind. Could these strange builders represent the ocean's ancient experiment in architecture, a trial-and-error process that will one day birth entirely new ecosystems? The truth hides in shadows, with each discovery deepening the enigma surrounding coral architects. The story of coral reef builders invites us to reconsider our relationship to the sea, to see the ocean floor not as inert earth but a living canvas continuously reshaped by tiny, tireless hands. Their works are monuments to patience and persistence, stretching through epochs beyond human comprehension. Yet within this extraordinary construction lies a warning. These delicate ecosystems are vulnerable, easily disrupted by warming waters and pollution. The collapse of coral reefs would mean the loss of biodiversity and the unraveling of food webs that sustain countless species. As we marvel at the coral architects' megastructures, we must ask ourselves, how long will these living cities last, and can we protect their builders before silence falls? The ocean's builders silently persist, reminding us that beneath the surface, life is both fragile and fiercely enduring. At the furthest reaches of the ocean, where sunlight is extinguished by thousands of meters of water, lie the Hadal trenches, abysses of crushing pressure, unyielding cold, and eternal darkness. These are some of the most extreme and alien environments on Earth, places so inhospitable that for decades they were thought nearly lifeless. Yet, recent explorations have unveiled a hidden world teeming with bizarre creatures that defy every expectation of survival. The Hadal Zone, found exclusively within narrow ocean trenches, stretches across an area almost the size of Australia. What makes this realm so fascinating is not just its depth, but the mysterious life forms that have adapted to thrive in conditions resembling the surface of another planet. How do these creatures manage to excavate and shape the seafloor in such an unforgiving environment? Their architecture challenges the boundary between living organisms and geological forces, a living geology sculpted by creatures evolved beyond our everyday comprehension. The seafloor within these trenches is anything but static. It is a landscape in constant transformation, shaped by the prolific activity of tiny engineers that burrow and build beneath the sediment. Sea cucumbers are among the primary workers, processing huge volumes of organic material that drifts down from the sunlit world above. They consume, sift, and rework sediment, cycling carbon and oxygen in ways vital to the trench ecosystem. These slow-moving creatures seem innocent enough, but they hold the key to sustaining entire food webs in near-complete darkness. Polychaete worms weave dense networks of tubes, burrowing deep into the sediment and creating labyrinths that stabilize the shifting mud. Crustaceans like amphipods navigate this subterranean maze, playing their part in the ongoing construction. When viewed as a whole, the sediment below the Hadal trenches appears almost alive, a pulsing matrix built by countless coordinated efforts on a microscale. What truly bewilders scientists is the discovery of complex bacterial mats and microbial communities that transform the very nature of the sediment. These microorganisms harness chemical energy in a process called chemosynthesis, recycling methane and sulfur compounds that seep from tectonic activity along trench walls. Methane bubbles rise from cold seeps, fueling life independent of sunlight, an eerie mirror to the better-known hydrothermal vent communities. These microbial builders bind sediment particles into cohesive, rubbery layers, adding a new dimension to seafloor architecture that blurs the line between biology and geology. Could these microbial networks be considered the foundation upon which larger animals build their homes? This subterranean alliance of bacteria and invertebrates forms an ecosystem both fragile and resilient, a shadow city where life is continually constructed and deconstructed without pause. Pressure in the Hadal Zone is unimaginably intense, exceeding 1,100 times the atmospheric pressure at sea level. Yet, the creatures here have evolved astonishing adaptations, synthesizing proteins that remain stable and flexible under such crushing force. They resist the physical destruction that would obliterate most life forms. Their bodies often appear translucent or gelatinous, lacking heavy bones, allowing them to withstand these conditions without collapse. Many produce bioluminescent glows that flicker like ghostly signals in the blackness, used for communication or predation. The interaction of these bioluminescent flashes across the seafloor creates a hypnotic light show, illuminating the twilight that never really comes. What chilling stories might these flickers tell? This eerie dance of light and shadow in the deep evokes the haunting mystery of an ecosystem alien and ancient, where survival is a grim and beautiful struggle. Within this profound darkness, certain animals exert outsized influence on seafloor structure. Tube worms can form dense colonies resembling vast underwater forests, their chitinous tubes anchored tightly into sediment and rock. Unlike their shallow water coral cousins, these abyssal architects depend on bacteria living within them to convert chemical energy into organic matter. Their colonies trap sediment and create hard surfaces where other animals can settle. Crustaceans, echinoderms, and mollusks weave among these columns, their movements continually reshaping the terrain. These megastructures, though invisible from above, stretch across kilometers, silently constructing a living monument to life's tenacity. What forces guide these communities' intricate designs? As researchers peer closer, they recognize that these constructions may rival the complexity of coral reefs. Except here darkness, rather than light, reigns supreme. The Hadal trenches themselves are steep, V-shaped scars in the planet's crust, formed by tectonic plates colliding and slipping beneath one another. This dramatic geology concentrates sediment and organic matter, funneling nutrients into a confined corridor that supports dense biological communities. Despite this, isolation governs Hadal life. These trenches are separated by ridges and vast shallows, creating isolated evolutionary laboratories where species evolve unique adaptations. Genetic studies reveal distinct populations even between neighboring trenches, each housing novel organisms unseen elsewhere. Genetic isolation combined with extreme environmental pressure pushes evolution into extraordinary directions. Isolated from the rest of the ocean, these creatures become specialists in survival, their existence a silent epic of adaptation against the abyss. Yet the hadal environment also tells a subtle warning. Its inability to connect freely with shallower ecosystems means that changes at the surface have profound impacts below. Microplastic fibers discovered in hadal organisms remind us that this deep refuge is not beyond human influence or pollution. Rising ocean temperatures and acidification threaten these delicate ecosystems, risking cascading effects on carbon cycling and global climate regulation. The methane and organic carbon stored in hadal sediments represent a vital part of Earth's carbon balance, recycled by microbial communities in a fragile equilibrium. What might happen if this cycle is disrupted? Could we unleash ancient carbon stores, accelerating climate change? The darkness here holds more than mystery. It harbors ecological battles with stakes far beyond the trench walls. Despite their alien appearance, the creatures of the hadal trenches connect our world to the unknown, bridging biology, geology, and chemistry in ways scarcely imagined. Their megastructures are not mere fossils of the past but dynamic, living cathedrals constantly being rebuilt. Each burrow, tube, and microbial mat tells a story of survival against all odds, a testament to life's indomitable will to endure. As technology advances, the secrets of the hadal zone gradually unfold, revealing a cosmos beneath the ocean floor, where time slows and evolution experiments in silence. This hidden realm invites us to rethink what it means to inhabit the Earth and challenges our understanding of life's boundaries. So as we stare into these fathomless trenches, it's worth pondering. What else lies buried beneath their shifting sands? What ghost cities of sediment and strange architecture remain unseen, waiting for discovery? The hadal seafloor is a frontier not only in depth but in imagination, a place where mystery and science entwine endlessly. With each expedition, the abyss whispers more of its ancient secrets, coaxing humanity to witness the intricate dance of life and stone. Below the crushing weight of water, where sunlight cannot reach, the ocean's builders work in eternal night, the silent architects of the living seafloor. Advanced submersibles like China's Fendu's have revolutionized the way scientists explore these depths, allowing extended missions and precise sampling of sediments, microbes, and larger fauna. These expeditions reveal ecosystems fueled not by sunlight but by chemical energy from the Earth's tectonic activity. Methane seeps and hydrothermal vents release carbon-rich compounds that microbes convert into organic matter, feeding strange communities of clams, tube worms, and crustaceans. These chemosynthetic lifeforms build structures from the very materials that the seafloor offers, layers of sediment cemented into rubbery mats or towering tubes that provide shelter and breeding grounds. This architecture is at once alien and vital, forming a patchwork of habitats in the bleakest environment imaginable. Could these chemical oases be echoes of life's earliest roots, existing far from the nurturing rays of the sun? Sediment samples taken from across the trench show an astonishing diversity of microbial life, with over 7,500 species found in a single region, most never before recorded. These microbes play a pivotal role, breaking down complex molecules and recycling nutrients essential to sustaining higher life. Their remarkable ability to withstand extreme pressure and low temperatures is encoded in their unique genes, making them the living custodians of the hadal ecosystem. They bind together sediment particles into resilient layers, stabilizing the seafloor and allowing other creatures to colonize. This microbial architecture forms an invisible yet vital scaffold, the living foundation beneath the macrostructures we can see. What mysteries reside in the DNA of these ancient organisms, and how might they inform our understanding of life's resilience? On the physical landscape, rocky outcrops emerging from the sediment add complexity to the trench's architecture. These submerged seamounts, once towering volcanoes now crushed by tectonic forces, create rugged terrain. Here, species assemble in communities that rival shallow coral reefs in biodiversity, clinging to every crevice and fissure. Many of these organisms form their own structures, sponges, soft corals, and anemones, that enhance habitat complexity and offer refuge. The interplay of biological and geological features creates a dynamic environment where life continuously sculpts and reshapes the seafloor. What unknown organisms lurk in these shadowy pinnacles, and what roles do they play in the deep trench ecosystem's delicate balance? Recent discoveries have also stunned researchers by revealing unexpected adaptations among trench dwellers. Large amphipods, some the size of small cats, roam the dark plains scavenging what little detritus drifts down. Newly documented snailfish species diving close to 10 kilometers deep break records for vertebrate life at extreme pressure. These animals display gelatinous, translucent bodies that defy our expectations of fish physiology. Their simple but effective designs perfectly evolved for crushing depths. Bioluminescent organs flicker in the darkness, illuminating neighbors or luring prey in a ghostly courtship. They build and defend territories, some living in burrows dug into sediments or rock crevices, contributing subtly to the trench's living architecture. How did such life evolve? Adapting to conditions seemingly inimical to survival, transforming the Hadal Zone into a bustling aquatic metropolis. Yet the Hadal trenches are not only repositories of ancient life but frontline witnesses to humanity's impact. Microplastics found even in the deepest sediments testify that no place is untouched by our presence. These pollutants enter the trench through marine currents and sinking debris, infiltrating food webs in ways we are just beginning to grasp. The delicate balance between chemical and biological processes faces new threats from climate change, deep-sea mining, and ocean acidification. Methane stored beneath these trenches could be released if this balance is disrupted, exacerbating global warming. How will these pristine yet vulnerable ecosystems respond to rapid changes induced by humans lurking on the surface? The abyss watches silently, bearing witness to the unfolding drama of the Anthropocene. Scientists continue to explore these trenches, deploying innovative technology to pierce their depths and illuminate hidden corners. Robotic vehicles send back haunting imagery of ghostly creatures and shimmering microbial mats that pulse like otherworldly lifeforms. The trench's ecosystems are intricate mosaics of geological features and biological communities, connected by chemical cycles spanning centuries. Deciphering this complexity is a challenge requiring interdisciplinary efforts, combining genetics, chemistry, geology, and ecology to paint a fuller picture. Each discovery prompts new questions. How widespread are these chemosynthetic habitats? What unknown species remain hidden in unseen crevices? And what lessons can this alien world teach us about life's tenacity in the face of extreme adversity? The Hadal Zone remains one of Earth's last frontiers, a profound mystery cloaked in darkness and silence. It challenges the human imagination, offering glimpses of life forms and ecosystems that blur the line between biology and geology. These megastructures of sediment, microbial mats, and animal-built formations are monuments to survival and adaptation. Complex, fleeting, and hauntingly beautiful. As we push deeper into these abyssal valleys, we stand humbled before a living cathedral built by nature's quiet architects in a realm beyond light and time. The Hadal trenches remind us that even in the planet's darkest corners, life thrives, perseveres, and builds anew, forever reshaping the landscape beneath the waves. Beneath the modern seafloor's subtle undulations lie the fossilized ghosts of ancient builders, their intricate works preserved in stone for eons. What we tread upon as solid bedrock once teemed with life, burrows and reefs etched by creatures long extinct. Scientists unearth these remnants in core samples, revealing vast networks of tunnels and chambers that shaped prehistoric oceans. Trace fossils, or ichnofossils, capture the restless motion of worms and arthropods that aerated sediments millions of years ago. These ancient architectures stabilized seabeds, fostering ecosystems that evolved into today's biodiversity hotspots. How did such humble excavations influence the very continents we inhabit today? Layers of these biogenic structures form limestone beds, thrusting upward through tectonic forces into mountains. A quiet horror stirs in realizing that the ground beneath our feet whispers of drowned worlds, rebuilt from organic toil. Deep time unveils strata where entire rock formations owe their existence to seafloor engineers of yore. Stromatolites, built by microbial mats in shallow ancient seas, stack like tiered temples, trapping sediment grain by grain. These cyanobacteria colonies dominated Earth for billions of years, oxygenating the atmosphere through patient construction. In deeper paleoceans, reef-building sponges and bryozoans erected skeletal frameworks rivaling modern corals in scale. Fossilized burrows crisscross shales, showing how invertebrates churned mud into habitable realms long before complex life emerged. What unseen intelligence guided these early architects, layering death into enduring stone? Erosion exposes these relics along coastlines, where waves reveal petrified tunnels frozen mid-excavation. The past seafloor lives on, its megastructures defying oblivion through geological memory. Consider the chalk cliffs of Dover, massive white faces carved from the skeletons of tiny coccolithophores that blanketed ancient oceans. These single-celled algae built vast calcareous oozes, compressing over 90 million years into kilometer-thick deposits. Trilobite trails and crinoid stems mark surfaces where Cambrian builders once roamed, their traces now etched eternally in slate. Entire mountain ranges, like the Appalachians, incorporate seafloor carbonates forged by coral-like organisms in Devonian seas. These biogenic rocks cycle through plate tectonics, subducting and resurfacing in volcanic rebirths. Do these cycles hint at a planetary respiration, where life exhales stone? Paleontologists marvel at how burrow densities reveal ancient oxygen levels, decoding climates from fossilized labor. Yet the sight evokes unease, as if the Earth remembers every buried struggle. Transitioning to deeper archives, abyssal plain sediments preserve ichnofabrics from the Mesozoic, when ichthyosaurs and ammonites cast shadows over thriving benthic communities. Nereites, complex meandering burrows, indicate tiered ecosystems where surface feeders grazed alongside deep excavators. These patterns repeat across ocean basins, suggesting global guilds of sediment shapers adapted to uniform deep-sea conditions. Fossilized tubeworm reefs from Permian depths stand as sentinels, their agglutinated homes binding silts into resilient barriers. What cataclysms did these structures withstand, only to be entombed in anoxic events? Modern analogues in Hadal trenches mirror these ancients, blurring epochs in a continuum of construction. The rock record pulses with their legacy, a subterranean chronicle of persistence. Horror subtly infuses this tale as we confront the scale. Over 70% of Earth's surface sediments bear biogenic traces, meaning most continental crust integrates ancient seafloor life. Oil reservoirs trapped in reef fossils power our civilizations, extracted from tombs of primordial engineers. Dinosaur footprints overlay burrow fields in Cretaceous layers, giants treading upon the works of microscopic multitudes. These intersections remind us of life's layered dominance, where builders underpin predators in eternal hierarchy. Could future geologists misread our plastic-laced strata as alien artifacts? The fossilized seafloor challenges anthropocentrism, positioning humanity as fleeting surface dwellers atop biogenic bedrock. Each quarry slice reveals more, deepening the enigma of life's architectural ambition across deep time. Paleoceanographers reconstruct vanished seascapes from these clues, mapping megastructures that influenced ocean currents and climate. Carbonate platforms from the Eocene sprawled across Tethys sea basins, their collapse seeding modern Mediterranean depths. Siliceous sponge spicules form cherts that gleam like obsidian, preserving radiolarian skeletons in intricate lattices. These materials weather into soils that nourish forests, closing loops from sea to land. What forgotten megafauna once sheltered in these vast biogenic mazes? Echoes persist in seismic profiles, where ancient burrows scatter sound waves like cryptic hieroglyphs. The continuity unnerves, suggesting no true extinction for these builders, only transformation into the planet's skeleton. As we delve further, hybrid formations emerge, microbialites intertwined with metazoan traces, hinting at cooperative construction predating the Ediacaran biota. Conodont fossils cluster around burrow entrances, implying predatory guilds orbiting stable habitats. These associations built resilient ecosystems resilient to mass extinctions, repopulating voids with swift recolonization. Modern vents host similar symbioses, linking past to present in chemosynthetic threads. Does this pattern foretell life's blueprint for abyssal renewal after apocalypse? Fossil cores from ocean drilling projects capture transitions, where burrow density surges post-crisis, rebuilding from microbial bases. The narrative arcs from chaos to order, etched indelibly in stone. Ultimately, these living fossils beneath compel reflection on our ephemeral place in geological time. The seafloor's ancient architects crafted the stable crust that birthed landmasses and atmospheres alike. Their megastructures endure as the planet's foundational code, resilient against cosmic assaults. Yet vulnerability lingers in their tails. Reefs felled by volcanism, burrows drowned in hypoxia. What new builders evolve now in hidden trenches, poised to layer tomorrow's bedrock? The blurred boundary between tissue and terra firma haunts, evoking a world alive at every scale. As we surface from these depths of time, the question lingers. In the silence of stone, who truly authors Earth's architecture? As we emerge from the shadowed archives of ancient seafloor builders, a profound question lingers in the crushing silence of the deep. Who truly holds the reins of this planetary architecture? Is it the tireless worms and corals of today, or something far more insidious stirring beneath? Modern science reveals vast networks of microbial and invertebrate activity reshaping sediment fields across entire ocean basins, their influence rivaling tectonic plates in subtlety. Satellite imagery and submersible scans capture enigmatic patterns, kilometer-wide spirals, rippling plains, unexplained ridges that defy easy explanation. These megastructures shift over decades, hinting at a coordinated intelligence beyond individual survival. Could the seafloor possess a collective mind, pulsing with ancient instincts we cannot comprehend? Human expeditions glimpse only fragments, leaving room for dread. What colossal entity orchestrates this hidden symphony from the abyss? The awakening seafloor challenges our dominion, whispering that control slipped from our grasp long ago. Drone footage glides over abyssal plains, revealing sediment waves undulating like breathing skin under invisible currents. Scientists attribute these to dense holothurian herds, migrating en masse to rework fresh deposits from surface productivity. Yet the precision borders on uncanny, patterns repeating across hemispheres as if following geomagnetic cues or chemical signals. In the Clarion-Clipperton zone, polymetallic nodules, concretions grown over millions of years, dot the floor like fossilized eggs, harvested by scavenging amphipods that polish their surfaces. These nodules anchor microbial films, binding finer particles into expansive mats that stabilize against landslides. What evolutionary alchemy forged such precision in chaos? Explorers report faint bioluminescent blooms tracing these formations at night, like veins in a colossal organism. A chill settles. The seafloor stirs not randomly, but with purpose veiled in darkness. Deeper still, cold seeps unleash methane plumes that nourish chemosynthetic gills, erecting carbonate chimneys resembling petrified trees. Bacterial consortia precipitate minerals, fusing sediment into towering spires that pierce the gloom. Tube worms cluster at bases, their red plumes waving like banners over this underworld bazaar. These structures trap organic rain, funneling it to hidden burrows where unseen jaws grind ceaselessly. Geological surveys map networks spanning hundreds of square kilometers, their growth rates accelerating amid warming currents. Do these vents signal the seafloor's metabolism, exhaling gases from Earth's core? Submersibles detect tremors, subtle quakes not tectonic, but biogenic rhythms echoing through the crust. Horror creeps in. What if this pulse quickens, reshaping coastlines in retribution? Humanity's gaze turns covetous, with deep-sea mining poised to plunder these living edifices for rare earths. Robotic excavators stir sediments, unleashing plumes that smother distant reefs and smother microbial engines. Yet resilient builders rebound, recolonizing scars with opportunistic fervor, their megastructures adapting faster than anticipated. Climate models predict acidification corroding biogenic frameworks, dissolving calcium lattices grain by grain. Pteropods and foraminifera, tiny architects of ooze, bare dissolving shells, weakening the global carbon sink. How long until cascades topple entire ecosystems, unleashing buried methane in fiery reprisal? The seafloor's response manifests in rogue waves and unexplained quakes, omens of awakening ire. Control fractures as nature reasserts its blueprint. Microbial dark matter dominates, comprising 90% of deep-sea biomass, weaving invisible webs that dictate sediment fate. Metagenomic surveys uncover viruses herding bacterial flocks, engineering blooms that blanket basins in nutrient-rich veils. These consortia lithify muds into quasi-rock, preserving snapshots of flux in eternal strata. AI analyses detect fractal geometries in burrow fields, suggesting self-organizing principles akin to neural networks. What computational genius evolves in isolation, outpacing silicon mines? Fossils confirm this persistence through extinctions, implying an unbreakable lineage. A mild terror arises. Humanity as mere ephemera atop this calculating substrate, our cities built on borrowed time. The grand canvas unfolds in high-resolution bathymetry, painting megaforms that mock human scales, worm-cast dunes marching like armies, sponge gardens sprawling as cities. These living tapestries harbor biodiversity hotspots, unseen predators lurking in labyrinthine folds. Acoustic surveys capture choruses of rasps and gurgles, the seafloor's ceaseless industry. Global warming amplifies fluxes, freshening abyssal waters and invigorating builders with polar melt. Yet tipping points loom, where acidification thresholds crumble foundations, spawning hypoxic dead zones. Who engineers the counterstroke, evolving hypercalcifiers or acid-tolerant hordes? The mystery thickens, blending awe with foreboding prescience. Philosophers ponder if the seafloor dreams in slow motion, its architectures encoding planetary memory across eons. Quantum sensors detect electromagnetic fields pulsing from vent fields, perhaps coordinating migrations. Evolutionary biologists trace convergent designs worldwide, hinting at universal builder archetypes. Anthropogenic echoes reverberate. Plastic microfossils entomb in mats, marking our intrusion eternally. As seas rise, coastal sediments mobilize, empowering megastructures to encroach on shorelines. What hybrid worlds emerge when abyssal architects meet the surface? The veil thins, revealing control not hierarchical but emergent, woven from trillions of infinitesimal wills. In this awakening realm, the seafloor defies passivity, emerging as protagonist in Earth's epic narrative. Its megastructures testify to life's dominion over stone, resilient against cosmic whims. Yet fragility tempers triumph, with perturbations risking unraveling cascades. Voyagers return haunted by visions of stirring vastness, urging reevaluation of stewardship. The final enigma beckons. As builders toil unseen, do they await our awakening or herald their own ascendancy? Mystery and mild horror entwine, compelling gaze into the depths where architecture lives. The ocean floor rebuilds relentlessly, authorship eternal, control an illusion shattered by the tide.